There's like this new trend in the NFL where it's just like, oh yeah, we're going to swap quarterbacks. Oh, we're going to replace this guy with another guy. The Jets, Zach Wilson and Tim Boyle. The Steelers, now we'll have 3 different quarterbacks to start games for them. Raiders, Jimmy G to Aiden O'Connell. The Vikings, Josh Dobbs, because he was the backup, and then Nick Mullins. The Pats had Mac Jones, first round pick. Oh no, Bailey Zappi. The Falcons, Desmond Ridder. Actually, Taylor Heineke. Actually, Desmond Ridder. The Titans, Ryan Tannehill to start the year. Oh, we're not going to play the quarterback we drafted. Oh wait, now we are. Hey, stick with one guy. Stop playing random dudes ahead of first round picks. It's almost like these quarterbacks don't have and won't have success if you don't cater the offensive scheme to the talents and the skills that these guys have at their disposal. How does Mac Jones, I know college is at the NFL, how does Mac Jones go from an absolute monster at Alabama in the toughest conference in all of college football, and he goes to the Patriots? I know the weapons maybe aren't quite as good, but he just becomes abysmal in the NFL. Zach Wilson, a top 5 pick, cannot execute an offensive scheme on the New York Jets consistently. And they're like, well, you know who can? Tim Boyle. Tim Boyle. It's a new thing. I don't know what's going on in the NFL. I don't know why these coaches continue to do it. And honestly, why people continue to let them get away with it. You can't just draft a first round quarterback, a first round pick, and then not give him full confidence to go out and execute an offense and also cater the offensive scheme to the talent and skills that this guy has in particular. Zach Wilson can throw the run a little bit. Mac Jones can't. Will Levis has a huge arm. Jimmy G doesn't. Like, the Raiders traded for Jimmy G and then just don't start him. The Titans drafted a quarterback, but then they still start Ryan Tannehill, who's been nothing but just mid for them. And then they start losing with a mid-ass quarterback, and they're like, oh yeah, we'll do Will Levis now. Oh, you know what? Now Will Levis is going to come in just right off the bat and just start balling out. Like, no, it's not how it works. You got to give guys a larger sample size than like 3 weeks, 5 weeks. Even Zach Wilson, oh my gosh, like, he wasn't great his first year. That's fine. But the Jets weren't good. And then they get Aaron Rodgers. Oh boy, Aaron Rodgers. Here we go to the Jets. Everyone's ready for Aaron Rodgers. Zach Wilson's not getting any first team reps. Rodgers gets hurt. And then Zach Wilson steps in and isn't great. And they're like, dude, he's a bum. We want Tim Boyle. Tim Boyle. Oh my God. Why would you do that to Zach Wilson? It's not his fault. He has some bad decision making. No question. Mac Jones, bad decision making. No question. But dude, come on. Give these guys a chance, just a little bit of a chance. Oh, Mac Jones and the Patriots offense sucks? Well, you know, it's probably all Mac Jones's fault, and not the fact that the Patriots offensive line is the worst it's been in the last 25 years. Their new offensive coordinator, Bill O'Brien, literally got let go from Alabama, a college program, last year, and the Patriots have no receivers. Nobody good to catch the football except for like maybe Hunter Henry. Kinda. But yeah, you know what? It's Mac Jones's fault. So we're going to put in Bailey Zappi. What? A couple teams did it, and now coaches are just getting away with it. Steelers, Mike Tomlin comes out, was like, because Pickett's hurt, is like, Mitch Trubisky started last week, didn't look great. So now Mason Rudolph is gonna start on Sunday. Oh, that's the answer. Okay. Oh, so Mason Rudolph is gonna come in and he's gonna perform better than Mitch Trubisky. Like, what do these coaches think is gonna happen when they're just flip-flopping quarterbacks every other week? First of all, a quarterback who knows he's on a short-ass leash is not going to play well. He knows the team has no confidence in him. He knows the coaching staff could care less if he has success or not because they're just going to cycle in a new guy. And then when he is cycled in with somebody else, it's not like that quarterback coming in to replace him is any better. Tim Boyle's not better than Zach Wilson. Mason Rudolph's not better than Mitchell Trubisky. Nick Mullins is not better than Josh Dobbs. Aiden O'Connell is not better than Jimmy Garoppolo. Bailey Zappi is not better than Mac Jones. They're all terrible. None of them is going to come in and just, oh, now we go. Here it is. These coaches, they can't just keep getting away with this. We're going to start this guy this week. Yeah, I don't know. We're probably going to, run a collective group of quarterbacks, give a couple guys different looks. Or we're going to draft the guy high up and then just not have any faith in him. Have zero confidence in him. We're not going to tailor the offensive scheme to the skills that these guys have. And we're just going to keep riding with who we got. And then when they don't do well, we're just going to bring in a backup because that's going to fix our problems. Like, change the scheme. Get the ball out quicker for Zach Wilson if the offensive line is so bad. For Will Levis, open up the field, blow over the top of the defense, because when he does do that, oh my God, he's a monster. For Mac Jones, it's throw the ball over the middle of the field quicker. Get the ball out. Their offensive line's not good. For Jimmy G, it's checkdowns, it's screens, it's easy throws, it's game management. Let these guys manage games a little bit. Hand the ball off, run the ball. The Steelers draft Najee Harris. They got running backs, they do whatever, and they don't really run the ball that well. And then their quarterbacks suck? What? Dude, it's not the quarterbacks. It's the coaching, it's the offensive playmaking, play calling. It's all of it. The coaching is terrible. The play calling is terrible. The offensive schemes are terrible. The sequencing is terrible. The game management is terrible. A lot of these teams with these quarterbacks, they're just cycling in and out, have bad defenses, which doesn't allow for offensive success. And these quarterbacks, whether they want to admit it or not, or whether they will ever admit it or not, they know in the back of their head, these coaches, these offensive coordinators have no faith and will just cycle me out if I don't have any success. And that thought in the back of their heads is never, ever, ever, ever going to lead to sustained success. Ever, ever, ever. I'm not saying you just have open-ended, blind confidence in these quarterbacks. You know what? We'll let Mac Jones play for 4 years at a low level, and then we'll do something about it. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is do everything you possibly can to try to lead these guys to some sustained success. And if you try a bunch of different things, a bunch of different schemes, a bunch of different play callers, all kinds of different stuff, and it still doesn't work out, then the common denominator is bad quarterback play. Then you can replace those guys. But these guys just cycling in quarterbacks and just rotating them in, you're not going to do anything. You're not. You're just not. You're not the 49ers. You're not Kyle Shanahan. You can't have 3 quarterbacks play in one season and have success every single time a new quarterback comes in. Because Kyle Shanahan is a masterclass. And oh, by the way, with all his quarterbacks, no disrespect to Jimmy G or Trey Lance, a lot of those mid-tier quarterbacks, no disrespect. It's no disrespect to Jimmy G, Trey Lance, or Brock Purdy, because they're all pretty solid. But a lot of those mid-tier quarterbacks that are just getting replaced on a weekly basis by backups and then cycled back in and then back up and then cycled in, they'd all do pretty well if they had McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, Kyle Juszczyk, and then the play calling and the offensive schemes is excellent. It's not a coincidence that the 49ers do really well with almost anybody at quarterback. That's why the 49ers offense is good when they were able to cycle in new QBs just from injuries. But these other coaches are like, oh, the 49ers did it? Yeah, we got to replace Mitch Trubisky with Mason Rudolph. That's the answer. We got to put Tim Boyle in there. Give him a look over our first round pick, Zach Wilson. Nope. The Ryan Tannehill's been in the league for 8 years. He's got to get the nod over Will Levis. Dude, oh my God, do something different. It's not the quarterback's fault the entire time. It's just not. Not to mention all these teams and all these quarterbacks and all these offensive units that are horrible with these quarterbacks that just keep getting subbed in and out. Their offensive lines are all terrible. Zach Wilson's on his ass every play. Every play is on his ass. Every play is on his ass. Mac Jones has no time to throw the football. And his offensive coordinator, Bill O'Brien, got fired from a college program last year. And the Raiders had a little bit of struggles. The Raiders were not kind of great with Jimmy G and Josh McDaniels, who is a Class A loser. And they're like, oh, Jimmy G, the guy who was in the NFC Championship as recently as 2 years ago? Yeah, he's not good. And you know who will be better? Is Aiden O'Connell. I'm sorry. What? What are you talking about? And then the Vikings struggle, don't play well. You lose Kirk. That sucks. They got Josh Dobbs in there, kind of plays well. Guys are rallying around him. Then he faces 1 second of adversity or one game of lack of production. And the Vikings were like, yep, Nick Mullins time. Oh, and then you guys lost. Shocker. So it's not the quarterback's fault. It's a team sport and it's a team game. We cannot let these NFL coaches continue to just sub in and out mediocre ass quarterbacks, making it seem like that's the reason why these teams aren't playing well. It's not Jimmy Garoppolo's fault that the Raiders were terrible. It was Josh McDaniels, and everybody knows it, with eyes and a brain. It's not the Jets, or it's not Zach Wilson's fault that the Jets aren't a good team. Their offensive line's horrible, and their play calling is really bad with a really bad coach in Nathaniel Hackett calling plays. It's not Mitch Trubisky's fault that the Steelers didn't win. So subbing in Mason Rudolph or subbing in backup quarterbacks, it's almost like the definition of insanity with these coaches. Doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. Putting in basically the same quarterback, whether it's your starter or your backup, and expecting things to change. It's not going to do anything. for the Patriots to literally bench Mac Wilson Mac Jones. Like the Patriots in the middle of a game. We're like, okay, we've seen enough of Mac Jones. Now Bailey Zappe's going to come in for half a quarter, and now we're going to score points. Like, what is that? What is that? These coaches, man, it's so brutal. I just feel for these quarterbacks because they're just not getting enough looks. The offensive, scheme is not getting tailored to the skills that these guys have at their disposal. It's brutal.